Here's my daddy, Professor MJ.
What's up, Bookie Crushers? Today, on August 19th, I have 4 more MLB picks for you, including 2 underdogs that I like to hit. Well, I had a very eventful weekend. Uh, First of all, I told you earlier how my sons were playing their playoffs in their deck hockey league, and unfortunately, things did not go well at all. They started by playing 2 round robin games, and then they had to finish among the top 4 to qualify for the semifinals. But they lost their first game 2-1 before losing the next one 1-0. So basically, when you score a single goal in two matches, you have no chance of making it further. So they were eliminated after 2 games, which was disappointing. Now the baseball playoffs began for my oldest son, Maverick. In the first game, they won 5-0. He pitched 3 innings while racking up 6 punch-outs in the process. And now in the second game, we won 9-5, but that game left a very sour taste in my mouth because a couple of coaches from our team were ejected. I was not, but 2 of my assistant coaches were. This was a disgusting show made by the referee. I will give you more details at the end of this video in case some of you are interested. For now, I will focus on the MLB picks, even though all of my thoughts go towards this story that I will share with you later. All right, so first, let me remind you quickly how we fared the last time I talked to you, which was on Friday. After posting and suggesting to bet many underdogs last week, on Friday I told you that I did not like many underdogs on that day, and I decided to go with 4 favorites. And the good news is that all 4 were winners. You can see what those plays were. So a person risking $100 per game earned a profit of 267. So I know that betting favorites may not be that exciting, but sometimes that's what you have to do, and profit is a profit, as I often say. All right, so let's start with my first selection of the day, and it is actually one of my favorite underdogs for today. I'm taking at quite big odds the Houston Astros to pull off the upset in Detroit at plus 145 odds, or 2.45 in decimal. This is a 4-star play, by the way. Now, of course, the first thing that jumps at you is that this is a scary bet, fading Tarik Skubal. But let me explain why I like this betting tip here. First, the Astros fit under a betting system called the Pummel Pitchers, whose rules are as follows. Bet the road team if they either lost their last 2 games by allowing 9+ runs in each of those defeats. Or there are 2 more criteria, but we can already stop here because if you focus on the visiting club, Houston, they have indeed lost their last 2 games by giving up 10 and 12 runs respectively. So they fit the first of the 3 criterion shown on your screen right now. And by following the rules, we must support the road team. And as you can tell, this is a contrarian approach because we are backing an unpopular team here. Obviously, we have an excellent pitching duel in this case. Hunter Brown has been a revelation for the Astros, especially given the injuries sustained by key personnel in their bullpen. He had a shaky start to his career, but he has produced some very dynamic performances over the past 2 seasons. He was relatively shaky in July, posting a 5.54 ERA that month, but he has rebounded strongly in August. He faced the Red Sox again, and the Yankees, so we're talking about 3 tough opponents, but still he surrendered only 4 runs across 19 innings of work. So if you do the calculations, that amounts to a 1.89 ERA, which is fantastic. Also, in 5 career starts against Detroit, he owns a perfect 3-0 record, along with a strong 2.93 ERA. Now, meanwhile, Skubal has also been fantastic this year. But unlike Hunter Brown, he has been reeling in August. His ERA in the current month is 4.82. One more thing to note here is that Hunter Brown has a 208 batting average allowed against against the Detroit current players, whereas in the case of Skubal, he has allowed a 218 batting average to the Houston current roster. So both hurlers have been great. To me, that tells me that the game could go either way, and the line is way too high at plus 145 in this case. I think we have great value for astute gamblers like you. I'm not saying to bet your house on Houston. I'm just saying that it represents good value. I think that the odds are really too high in this situation. And sports betting is all about finding good value wagers. All right, up next, I like another underdog here. The Athletics to win outright in Minnesota at plus 125 odds. This is only a two-star play. I feel like the return on investment is positive but fairly small, maybe 1.5% or 2% in this case. Now, this is certainly another scary bet because we are fading Joe Ryan, who has been very strong. Now, the A's are 5-3 across their past 8 games, whereas the Twins only poor 3-6 record lately. Now, the blowout number 2 betting system applies in this situation. Its rules are as follows, in case you have missed them in prior videos. Bet against a team that won its last match by a margin of at least 7 runs if they are facing a different rival. In the current case, Minnesota destroyed the Tigers 8-1 in their last contest. So since they picked up the victory by a margin of 7 runs and they are facing a different opponent, we must fade Minnesota, and that's why I am backing the Athletics today. Well, that is one of the reasons why I am doing it. As I have often said, I don't use my betting systems blindly. This is like the first step of my decision-making process. Now, granted, Joe Ryan is hard to beat. Simple as that. It is definitely his best season since joining the league in 2021. He owns a 2.72 ERA along with an eye-popping 0.92 whip stat, which shows that there has been not a lot of traffic on the bases when he has been on the mound. But the Athletics have a better offense than the Twins, and today's starter for the Athletics has been lights out recently. Indeed, Jacop Lopez has yet to surrender a single run in his 4 last appearances on the mound. So that totaled 24 innings of work, and he has allowed just 15 hits in those 24 innings. So he is truly in peak form, and I think it is worth taking a stab at those plus 125 odds. By the way, if you are more familiar with decimal odds, which is often the case for people from the province of Quebec where I live, the corresponding odds are 2.25. All right, now it's time to take a very quick break. So I told you earlier how my son Maverick recorded 6 strikeouts. Unfortunately, I did not recorded those strikeouts. It's a bit tough to do when you're coaching the game at the same time, but I found a way to record one of his at-bats where he got a hit. So let's take a look at that.
Oh, vas-y, go. Ok, reste là.
All right, my third selection is the Texas Rangers as very tiny underdogs in Kansas City. The line is minus 105 in American odds or 1.95 in decimal, and this is also a 4-star selection. And I feel like this may not be a popular pick among most of you, but I still like Texas in this spot, and let me explain why. First of all, both starting hurlers have been rock solid against their rival dugouts. Amazingly enough, Merrill Kelly has allowed a meager 188 batting average against the current KC Royals roster. But meanwhile, Seth Lugo has been even better, allowing a 103 batting average to the current Texas Rangers roster. Now, the key aspect is as follows. Kelly has given up 2 runs or fewer in 6 of his last appearances on the mound. And meanwhile, Lugo has been mashed recently. In fact, he has been destroyed in each of his last 2 appearances. In both cases, he lasted exactly 4 innings on the mound, allowing 6 earned runs against the Washington Nationals and 7 earned runs at the Minnesota Twins. So in those 2 cases, we're talking about a below average offense, and yet Lugo struggled mightily. So despite winning just 3 of their past 12 games overall, I'm picking Texas to bounce back in this spot against the 3rd lowest scoring offense in the entire Major League Baseball. I think we have a bit some value in this case. Now my final play is the only one where we have some pretty big negative odds. I'm taking the LA Dodgers with the -1.5 run line. The associated odds are -190 or 1.53 in decimal. You could also consider to go with the -2.5 run line, in which case you need the Dodgers to win by a margin of at least 3 runs if you are brave enough. Personally, I'm not that brave, so I will go with the -1.5 run line. So I'm basically banking on the fact that LA will get the W by a margin of at least 2 runs at Coors Field today. Now, the Dodgers came to Colorado in a great mood after sweeping their arch rivals, the San Diego Padres, while also reclaiming the top spot in the NL West division. But maybe they partied too much and they drank too much because they were shocked by a 4-3 loss yesterday against the Rockies. What the heck happened there? Now let's see how far apart they are from each other on many levels. Let's start by talking about their payrolls. The Dodgers players' salary combined is $340 million compared to $122 for Colorado. Also, let's take a look at the run differential. The Dodgers are plus 87, which is 413 clear of the Rockies, who are minus 326. That is abysmal. Now, let's talk about the starting pitchers as well. Emmett Sheehan's ERA over 8 appearances is 3.86, which is very decent. In comparison, Austin Gomber's 2025 numbers are shameful. He owns a 6.75 ERA and the demoralizing 1.61 whip statistic. Now the Dodgers will be embarrassed by last night's performance. I fully expect them to come out firing on all cylinders to destroy the lowly Rockies tonight. So that is my 4th pick for today, the Dodgers with the -1.5 run line. There you go. You have my 4 picks for today. So as promised, I will share you the story of the 2 ejected coaches from our team that happened on Sunday. First, I also want to remind you, and I want to invite you to watch my super early NFL picks for week number 1, a video that I produced several weeks ago that presents 5 plays for week 1 in the NFL. It's coming very soon, in about 2.5 weeks, if I remember correctly. We already have 5,000 or 6,000 views for that video. All right, so for those of you who are interested, what the heck happened in my son's baseball game? So they were already leading 9-3, and we were in the last inning, so the top of the 6th inning. And we had 2 players in scoring position with only 1 out. So we were about to break out with a big victory. And at that level, when you get 4 balls, it's not a walk. The batter gets to hit from the T-ball, and he only has 1 shot to do it. So our guy hits a great double in the right gap. 2 more runs scored. It's 11-3. The crowd is pumped. They're happy. And all of a sudden, what the heck? The home plate referee says, no timeout. He's out because he hit the ball with his feet out of the batter's box. So my girlfriend, who is one of the assistant coaches and who was close to home plate, she said, what? What are you talking about? First of all, there is no batter's box that is drawn in the sand. So she suggests, why don't we draw one so that it doesn't happen in the future again? And by the way, how could you possibly hit a ball on the T-ball that is sitting right on home plate with 2 feet out of the batter's box? That's pretty much impossible in my mind. That is quite stupid. And anyway, there was no batter's box drawn in the sand. So my girlfriend says, well, why don't you draw a batter's box so that it doesn't happen again? And he says, okay, you're out, you're ejected. What the heck? So she's ejected. And then another of our assistant coaches is just walking casually to get the T-ball back. And the referee says, you're ejected as well. He's like, what? I did not say a single word. And the referee says, no, but I heard someone from your crowd saying something not so nice to me, so you're ejected. Now, the rule says that if the crowd starts complaining or saying something bad, the referee must issue a warning to the head coach, me, and he failed to do it. He simply just ejected a coach right away. And by the way, according to the rules, he was supposed to eject me since I'm the head coach, not taking any random coach walking by him. So he was ejected as well. And by the way, what the crowd said, and the mom of one of our players really apologized several times after the game, saying she felt sorry for what happened, but all she said was, that happens only in Ancienne Lorette, which is the city where we were playing. So that was sort of a sarcastic comment, but nothing that awful. She did not say, hey man, you suck as a referee. She only said, that only happens in Ancienne Lorette. I mean, come on, that is ridiculous. So I spent pretty much several hours yesterday writing emails to the league to file a complaint about the referee, giving all details, and also asking to cancel those suspensions. And by the way, 6 or 7 more parents filed a complaint about that referee as well. He was clearly in a power trip. And so today I learned that they did cancel the suspension to the assistant coach, who basically did absolutely nothing wrong because he failed to issue a warning to us before. But they are still maintaining my girlfriend's suspension, which I fully disagree. She was very polite to him. She said nothing wrong to him. Obviously, she was a bit upset, but she said nothing wrong. So that was quite stupid. And the biggest problem is that you lose 1 point in the standing for each ejected coach. So now we're getting 1 point back, but we're still losing 1 point. So instead of winning this game and getting 2 points, it's just as if we tied. We only got 1 point. So far, we have played our first 2 games. We have a 2-0 record, but it's almost as if we have a 1-0-1 record instead. We're going to play 2 more round-robin games. Every team plays 4 games, and then you need to finish in the top 2 among 5 clubs. So hopefully, we're going to continue winning, and this story will not be relevant anymore. So like I told the league, I fully understand how they need to protect the referees, but you also need to be fair with coaches who spend a lot of time and energy on the field, and that is just disgusting to me, and it makes me wonder if I should coach again next year, despite all the crap that happens on the field. You know, when sometimes you have players who are disruptive and not so fun to deal with. That is just a bunch of crap. But so anyway, hopefully things will go better in the next few days. We are playing our third game tomorrow on Wednesday night. Hopefully, we win that game. And if another club loses or ties, we will already be guaranteed to be part of the semifinals. But that is not guaranteed for sure. All right, so sorry about the long rant. Maybe you enjoyed it, maybe not. But I appreciate you a lot, and I hope to see you again tomorrow for more MLB selection, and hopefully we crush the bookies with today's MLB picks. Thanks, my friend. I'll see you tomorrow for more picks.